Hi, everyone. Well, welcome to your day 6 on video due Wednesday, September 14th. We've got a few new students in class. Welcome to the class. And in honor of these new students, we'll just go through all of the words that we have learned for the year so far, just so you don't think we haven't done anything. So here we go. And to those new students in the class, just find an old student in the class and they can help you with some of these words as well. But I'm not going to be checking these if you get them right or wrong. This is just kind of a big review. Here we go. So first word is Makhloket, or even though it says Makhloket, it's Makhloket, right? That's how we pronounce it, Makhloket, which means disagreement. How about Makhloket l'shem shamayim? That means a disagreement for the sake of heaven. We're not quite sure exactly what that means yet, but we have some ideas that it's a disagreement that has some kind of positive outcome, maybe an elevation of societal good or something like that. Then we have the opposite, Makhloket she'eno l'shem shamayim, a disagreement that is not for the sake of heaven. Hopefully we'll be able to find that as well. Ayeka. Oh, hey. Ayeka, where are you? God says this to Abraham, Ayeka. And also, I think, as the high holiday season comes around, it's something that we can be saying to ourselves, Ayeka. I remember Martin Buber, a great theologian, said this is a question that God is asking each and every one of us always. Where are we? Not kind of geographically, but spiritually. Ayeka. I love it. Okay. Kasha or koshi. Kasha or koshi. This is dealing with how Rashi looks at things in the Torah, and he finds lots of difficulties or problems. And of course, the last word is teirutz, which is what Rashi uses for an answer or a resolution. In modern Hebrew, actually, a teirutz is an excuse, which I guess could be an answer. All right. So we left our class last week looking at hierarchy, specifically looking at the difference between creation story number 1, which seems to have man and woman created equally, and Rashi has this great kind of idea of actually man and woman were created in one being, and then it is split, and then man and women are associated like this. They're kind of this one being called the the woman, and then it gets into woe and into man, something like that, right? Maybe. All right. But second chapter in Bereshit has the same story again, but actually shows man being created, man being lonely, and needing a companion. Looks around, sees if one of the animals can be a companion. Nope, can't be. And then woman is created from man, basically creating this kind of hierarchy. So one question is, does hierarchy equal superiority? We talked about in the class. Does hierarchy cause conflict? Is hierarchy a necessary part of the creation story? And really what we're going to talk about this week and is, does the man-woman hierarchy of creation story number 2, which we know is a fact, right? We can't even say that it's not a fact. There is hierarchy in some way, right? Woman is created from man. So in a sense, woman is in some sense here less than man because it's not all of man. So there's some kind of hierarchy here. And does the hierarchy of creation story come about only by how men and women are created? Meaning, was it an unintended consequence, or are there other factors of the creation story that kind of create or affect or exacerbate or kind of like bring to fore this thing that, like, because you could have hierarchy, but if it's never kind of talked about or brought up, maybe it doesn't cause conflict, right? Hierarchy only that isn't talked about is not hierarchy. It's nothing, right? So we're going to be talking about that. And what that's going to do is, and to do that really well, is we're going to have to kind of take a very close look at the creation story, specifically creation story number 2, when not the creation story that goes, there was evening and morning, the first day, second day, third day, fourth. That's creation story number 1. We're going to talk about kind of the creation of the Adam, who kind of looks around and doesn't find a helpmate. Okay, So here we go. But to order to do this well, like to really know how to look at the Torah, we need to do two things. We need to first figure out how to become close readers of the Torah. And we can do that in two ways. We can learn how to read the Torah like a poem or a love letter. And two, we can learn to read the Torah how Rashi reads the Torah. And what you're going to be doing for your homework is learning how to read the Torah like Rashi reads the Torah. In class, we're going to do the first one, which is learning how to read like a poem or a love letter. So we'll do a little exercise on that when we when we come to class. But the first thing we're going to do, so all of this, by the way, is kind of pre-work to help us learn how to become close readers of the text so we can read the text itself, right? So you're probably asking, why are we leaving this creation story? We're not leaving it. We're just kind of doing a little bit of a walk to the side, but to be able to come back and really look at the Torah in a sophisticated way, like we're supposed to. All right, so here we go. So I've introduced you to Rashi before because we looked at his word ayeka. Where are you? Right, that was a Hebrew vocabulary word. But and we learned two things that Rashi finds something called a kasha or a koshi, a problem in the text. And he answers it by offering us a teirutz, three words, right? Kasha or koshi, and finds a teirutz. These are words that we need to know. So, what is bothering Rashi? We can actually divide up all of Rashi's kushiot or koshi into five different koshis or five different kashas. And this is how these are them. So first, I'm going to give you an example for koshi number 1. All right, and it's an example involving me. So I want you to read this and figure out what could be the problem here. By the way, I learned how to present these all by looking at a book called Joel Grishaver's book called Learning Torah. Okay, so here we go. And then Rabbi Light took off his kippah and started filming the latest TikTok. So imagine for a second, that's not from the Torah, but imagine it was. Imagine Rashi was looking at this sentence, and he's saying, I think I have a problem with this sentence. And let me just give you a hint. It's not about the sentence beginning with the word and, although that could be a problem. It's not about me not having a quotation mark at the end. That's or in the beginning. That there's something else. And then Rabbi Light took off his kippah and started filming the latest TikTok. So this is now your question number 1. What is Rashi's koshi? All right, here is Rashi's koshi. Here's what's kasher. Why would Rabbi Light do this? Isn't he a rabbi? Why would he take off his kippah and start filming a TikTok? So something about what Rabbi Light is doing is causing Rashi to say, now let's look at a dugma similar to koshi number 1 from the Torah itself. See if you can figure out the problem here. Abraham brought the food out to the 3 messengers that had come to visit him. Sorry about that problem. That's not a problem. Abraham brought the food out to the 3 messengers that had come to visit him. He brought out meat and butter and milk for them to eat. What would Rashi's koshi be? All right, what is Rashi's koshi? Now, this is a little bit unfair because I know there are some people who are not Jewish in the class, and so you wouldn't know that one of the fundamental things that a Jew, certainly a Jew in the Torah, does is they keep kosher, and part of keeping kosher is not mixing milk and meat. And what does here Abraham do when he brings out butter, meat, and milk? It causes anyone who knows about this meaningfulness of keeping kosher to say, oh my goodness, Abraham is not keeping kosher. So that's a problem. And both of these, the example I made up and the example we find in the Torah, is doing the same thing, strange behavior. So one of the things Rashi is going to be looking at is behavior. Why people are doing what they're doing when maybe they shouldn't be doing it. And actually, this was also, we saw God doing the same thing when he says the word ayeka. Why is God acting strangely? God should not be saying, where are you? God knows exactly where you are. That's koshi number 1. Let's move on now to koshi number 2, and here's an example. 5th grade students ran to their next class. The fire alarm rang loudly in everyone's ear. So what is the koshi? And by the way, I also presented this in 5th grade. So they're also learning a little bit about Rashi. So that's why I use 5th grade and not upper school students, but we could say upper school students ran to their next class. The fire alarm rang loudly and everyone's here. What is Rashi's koshi? Okay, so Rashi's kushia is, what does the kids running to their next class have to do with the fire alarm ringing? How are they at all connected? These seem like two random sentences that have nothing connecting them. Let's look from the Torah. And Abraham passed the greatest test that God had given him, and Sarah died in Kiryat Arba. Kiryat Arba is a place. Okay, what would Rashi's koshi or kushia be here? All right, and then kind of the same thing. Wait a second. What does Abraham's passing a hard test have to do with Sarah dying? Why are these two ideas next to each other? By the way, there's a great answer to this question as well. That Rashi says, Satan, the evil angel, basically shows Sarah a picture of what Abraham was going to do, and Sarah dies of a heart attack. All right, so we're going to call this kushia number 2, and we're going to call it this beside that. Zet etzel zet, this beside that. When two things are next to each other and they make no sense at all, Rashi comes in to ask why are they connected and tries to find a connection between them. All right, example number 3. This is a kushia example number 3. Let's go for it. Rabbi Light arrived at the dinner, and only then did he realize that he was the only one that was invited. Rabbi Light left the meal, and immediately he went to eat a snack. He was so hungry since he had almost eaten nothing. He had almost nothing to eat all night. What would be Rashi's koshi or kushia here? Okay, what's Rashi's koshi or kushia? Here it is right here. Wait a second. How can it be that Rabbi Light's hungry? He was the only one invited to the meal. There must have been tons of food just for him to eat. Yeah, something is wrong with, there's some type of weirdness going on that one thing seems to contradict another. Let's check this out. Adam and Eve, the only two people alive, had a baby named Cain. Cain got married and his wife had a baby. What would Rashi's koshi or kushia be here? Oh, wait a second. How can Cain have found a wife if there's only Adam and Eve around? Where did his wife come from? Right? And this brings up our third category of kushia or koshi, number 3, which is a stira or some type of contradiction between the verses. Let's go now to example number 4. The boy, the one who won the race last week, keeps on forgetting which Jewish studies class he's in. The boy, the one who won the race last week, keeps on forgetting which Jewish studies class he's in. What would Rashi's koshi or kushia be here? Rashi would say, wait a second, why does it matter that the boy we're talking about is a boy who won the race? Those words seem so unnecessary and extra. You could have just said, the boy keeps on forgetting which Jewish studies class is in. Why is it that these extra words need to be there? And let's check out a dugma from dugma, by the way, means example, a dugma from the Torah itself. And God said to Abraham, take your son, your only son, the one that you love, Yitzchak, and bring him with you to the mountain that I will show you. What would Rashi's koshi or kushia be here? And of course, the answer is, wait a second. Couldn't the Torah have just said, take Yitzchak? Why are there all these extra words? Your son, your only son, the one that you love. What's all that doing there? Okay. Oh, a second dugma from the Torah. And God said to Abraham, Lech lecha, go from your land, go from your birthplace, go from the house of your parents to the land that I will show you. What would Rashi's kushia be here? Yeah. Why all these extra words? Why didn't God just say, go to the land that I will show you? Right? Why all these extra words? All right. And so this kushia is called number 4, called extra words. Rashi's, here's example number 5. Rabbi Light opened his mouth to pray, but nothing seemed to come out. That's precisely when Rabbi Light asked God for some special help and courage. What is Rashi's kushia? What would Rashi's kushia for this example be? And he would say, why is rabbi spelled with an extra B in the second sentence? Precisely when Rabbi Light needed some extra strength and courage. All right, let's check out a dugma from the Torah. Let them make a dwelling place. Let them make me a dwelling place that I may dwell in them. What would be Rashi's kushia here? Rashi was saying, why is dwelling place singular but is referred to in the plural? Shouldn't the sentence actually have said, let them make me a dwelling place that I may dwell in it? Why does it say in them? Here's the second dugma from the Torah. Noah walked with God. Abraham walked before God. This is also koshi number 5, koshi number 5, or koshi number 5. What is that koshi or kushia? And here it is. Why is it that Noah walked with God, but Abraham walked before God? So we're going to call this kushia grammar or meaning. So that's Rashi's kushia number 5. And so there we have it. All 5 of the ways that Rashi looks at the Torah and asks questions. We've got he could be looking at behavior. He could be looking at contradiction. He could be looking at this beside that. He could be looking at extra words, and you could be looking at grammar and meaning. So here we go. For the final piece of your video today, we're going to take about 20 of these, and I'm going to ask you to ask the following. So read the quotes, and then tell me the type of koshi that it is. Okay. Or tell me the question that Rashi would have, right? What would Rashi be questioning? So here's number 1. Here's number 2. I'm looking for the question and the koshi. Here's number 3, looking for the question and the koshi. Here's number 4, the question and the koshi. Here's number 5, the question and the koshi. Oh, this looks very similar to the ayeka, which, okay, let's go to the next page. Here's koshi number 6. I'm looking for the question and the type of koshi. Don't worry about the dibor. We haven't learned what a dibor makhloket is. We had this as an example. Oh my goodness. No, that should be an easy one, number 6. You best not get that one wrong. Okay. Number 7, question and koshi. Number 8, question and koshi. Number 9, question and koshi. Number 10, question and koshi. Number 11, question and koshi. Number 12, question and koshi. Number 13, question and koshi. Number 14, question and koshi. Number 15, question and koshi. Number 16, question and type of koshi. And we're done.